Good afternoon, Team Fortress 2 community. That was a blatant Xenomite ripoff, and this is my bronze dueling badge. Most of you probably have the exact same dusty bronze-colored badge in your inventory as well. You get it when you first finish a dueling minigame in Team Fortress 2, and it slowly levels up as you win duels over time. Now listen, you know just as well as I do that TF2 YouTube is dead and everything has to be a challenge these days, so fuck it. While I'm out here ripping off Xeno's old YouTube intro, I might as well just steal his whole video format and do 100 dueling minigames. The concept is dead simple. I load into casual, duel strangers, track my stats, do this 100 times, end video. To keep this fair and interesting, I've made some rules. All of these duels have to be done in Valve's casual matchmaking servers. I have to solo queue throughout the entire process to prevent me having a friend pocketing me. I have to select every single opponent that I'm going to duel at random. I'll do this by scrolling up and down on the player select screen and then clicking someone randomly. All classes are allowed, all weapons are allowed. I'm allowed to play like a scumbag or a pussy. But what is not allowed, however, is getting the lead and then sitting inside my spawn room and camp for an easy victory. For a duel to count, it has to result in either a victory or a defeat, so ties don't count towards my win rate. My thoughts going into this is that I'll probably have a 60%-ish win rate. Maybe 70% if I start stroking my own ego a bit and highball myself. But 60 to 65% win rate sits right with me. So, those are the rules and predictions. Time for me to hop into a casual server and level up my shitty little bronze badge. Is what I would say if anyone accepted my duel requests. I swear to God, no one was accepting my duels. I think game 1 alone it took like 5 tries to get a duel down. And the one duel that did go through ended in a tie. Just great. First duel and we're already having to do rematches. My first actual duel with the result was a victory. It was pretty uneventful to be honest, nothing crazy really went down. My opponent was on spy, I killed him once and that was it, I didn't really see him for the rest of the game. Duel number 2 ended 3-1 in my favor. My opponent refused to swap off sniper, so I kinda just got to walk all over them as soldier and scout. Nothing crazy, again. For duel number 3, I was matched against a vaccinated medic who was afraid to step as much as a pinky toe into combat. And my team couldn't push out a spawn. I mean, I probably wasn't helping given the fact that I was a huntsman. But the duel ended in a tie and I had to find a rematch. The real duel number 3 was a decently close Pyro v Soldier matchup. Ended 3-2 in my favor though. Duel number 4 was uneventful, I guess. I did see my opponent quite a few times, but someone other than me always managed to get the kill. The one kill I did get on my opponent was this one lucky reflect kill on the point. And had it not been for that, I'm pretty sure this duel would have been a tie as well. 3-0 in my favor. I'm pretty sure this guy was a fresh install. I feel kinda bad, I won't lie. I just sorta walked all over this poor fella. Duel number 6 was my first defeat. It ended 0-1. I lost the footage of it, but my opponent was an engineer and he got a sentry kill on me as I was flanking behind enemy lines. Then swapped to Cozy Camper and Bizarre Bargain and started camping way behind his team. I went scout and skill issued myself into a loss because I can't aim for shit. Duel number 7 was so dry for the first half. I kept seeing my opponent, but I couldn't really do much as they had 2 medics on them. We kept getting close, but no one really got any kills on each other. Eventually, I did get 2 assists and won the duel. Duel ended 1-0 for me. I went Huntsman Sniper. I saw my opponent like twice. I got a kill in this poor invisible spy though. That's the most exciting thing that happened that game. The first one was a draw. It ended 2-2. And then my opponent started trash talking me in chat for not accepting his duel rematch. The real duel number 9 ended because the spy main I was fighting left the server when the score was 3-1. I started recording this whole thing just a few days after I finished the Boxtrot backcap video. And on the game that would have been duel number 10, I was put into Snowplow, so I just decided to take a break and do some Boxtrot backcapping. Excellent. Brother. The Boxtrot backcap, I'm telling you guys, it always works. The actual 10th duel, however, was a swap fest. Both me and my opponent swapped classes a lot. The duel did ultimately end in a 3-2 victory in my favor. This game was just a pure steamroll and a draw. I didn't even get to play the video game. The rematch ended 1-0. I saw the guy like twice and I only killed him once. Duel number 12 ended 4-1 in my favor. My opponent was on heavy for the entire game and just refused to swap. So I just kind of got to do whatever I wanted on Soldier and Demo Man, as the map was really enclosed and choke heavy. My 13th duel was against some Russian comp player. It was really close, but it did end in a draw as he got an assist on me when I got my 3rd kill on him. The real duel number 13 was actually pretty close. It did take quite a while for any of us to start scoring points. First was me. I got a fat reflect kill and then struggled to get close to them again for a while. After a little bit, they got an assist, and after that, I got an assist as well. We did fight a lot, but most of the time it was really hard for any of us to get the finishing blow. 2-1 in my favor. Duel 14 ended 3-1 in my favor. My opponent was in Scout, got killed twice, swapped to Pyro and killed me once with an ambush. I eventually went Soldier, and my team won the match right as I killed my opponent the 3rd time. Super uneventful. I was an engineer, they were on medic hiding behind a heavy, so I went sniper eventually and hardscoped them. The duel ended 1-0 as they capped right after I got the kill. Duel number 16 ended a few seconds after it started. The person I challenged to a duel waited to accept until the very second their team capped the point. I took it as a sign and rematched the same person. They accepted and I won. I didn't count our first duel as a draw though. My opponent started off playing Spy, then went Sniper right after I killed them. I went Airstrike Soldier to counter, but they had already for some reason swapped off of Sniper and back to Spy. Then they went direct Hit Soldier, back to Sniper, and eventually they just left the game. I started the game out on Sniper, killed them once, and then they swapped to Sniper to try and counter-snipe me, but I got a sneaky kill. Then I went Scout, and they swapped to Soldier, and eventually they just left the server. I am so genuinely sorry to Simon Janheg 1979 for what I did to them in duel number 18. It wasn't just a stomp, it was a genuine bloodbath. This poor free-to-play Pyro stood no chance whatsoever. The one kill they did get on me was with a backburner crit when I was retreating and didn't even know that they were nearby. The duel ended 7-1 in my favor. I am such a horrible person, holy fucking shit. Absolute cakewalk. Saw my opponent once and killed them on accident, like no contest. Duel number 20 was so goddamn lame. My opponent went mucking a sniper, killed me once, and then stayed inside their spawn room for the entire game. I had so many times where I almost killed him, but every time he would just run away back to the resupply cabinet. But with 3 seconds left on the clock, I managed to somehow sneak up on them and get a kill, resulting in a tie. My ensuing rematch also ended in a tie. The real duel number 20 was against Hannibal Smith. My beloved. I feel like a horrible person. I am a horrible person. The duel ended 9-1 in my favor, but he took it like a champ and wanted a rematch, which I accepted with the intention of just not counting this duel in my stats. But luckily, it ended in a draw, as we never really got to fight each other. And then after that match, he wanted a third duel, which I sadly had to decline as I had to go to work for the day. If Hannibal Smith is out there watching this video, please, for the love of God, feel free to hit me up on Steam, and I'll give you either an Australian weapon or an unusual hat for whatever class you want. I have nothing but respect for you, Hannibal. Godspeed. Boring, uneventful, stale. My opponent was an engineer, I was a medic. I saw him like twice. We didn't really fight. I just started pocketing a soldier, hopped into voice chat and told him, and I quote, "Kill that engineer, he is really important." So the soldier did that, and I won the duel. My opponent was a medic pocketing a heavy. I got a sneaky kill in with the weapon that always crits by waiting for their Uber to end. Then they got their revenge and got a crit kill on me as well during overtime, Then I equipped the Phlogisinator and got them by jumping out of this window on last. Twice. I saw that my opponent was playing Pyro, so I swapped to a shotgun as soon as possible and got my first kill. A little while after that, I got my second kill on them, and the match ended, leaving the score 2-0. Duel number 24 was a Pyro duel, and thanks to my frankly amazing team, the duel ended 4-1, with my opponent's 1 point coming from a nasty little assist. During the entire game, I saw my opponent one single time. I'm pretty sure this was yet another fresh install. The duel ended 1-0 in my favor. Duel number 26 was yet another quitter. My opponent was on medic, so I tried to snipe them. That didn't work, so I went pyro and WM1'd the poor guy down. And then they left shortly after. Duel number 27 was my first capture the flag match. I'm kinda surprised it took this long. My opponent was an engineer for a while. I think they were camping behind the sentry gun, but I can't confirm that. Eventually they did swap to soldier, and I managed to get a kill. My opponent then started swapping between scout and soldier, and after a while I got yet another assist on them. Then they went flock pyro and got the jump on me. I went heavy and killed them again, and then they swapped to heavy to counter my heavy, which didn't really work out. After some more trading back and forth, we had this heavy sniping match, which I did end up winning in the form of an assist. The duel ended 6-2 in my favor. Duel number 28 was a really quick one. I went scout, killed my opponent who was on demo man once, then they swapped to scout and I killed them again on accident as the game was ending, leaving me with a score of 2-0. During duel number 29, I had my first raging gamer in the chat. I challenged someone who was on medic, and then some guy on the enemy team got really offended and started calling me every single slur under the sun because I didn't challenge him to a duel. Anyway, back on track. My opponent was on medic, so getting to them was kind of difficult. I did eventually manage to get a point in the form of a fall damage kill on the guy. After that, I couldn't get to him for the rest of the game, and then the unthinkable happened. I broke the no camping in spawn rule. Now, I know. I'm a bad person, you're gonna dislike the video, you're gonna unsubscribe, and you're gonna dox my personal info on the internet. But, hear me out. I have a valid reason. In between my lives, I was taking a sip of a drink. And then, unfortunately, I spilled my drink all over my goddamn keyboard. So I had to rush to the kitchen to find something to clean it with, and by the time I got back and sorted out the mess I'd made, the game was over, resulting in a 1-0 victory. Nothing exciting, pretty sure this was another fresh install. 3-0, let's just move on. Duel number 31 started out rough. My opponent was a direct hit soldier and he managed to get an assist on me. Then I did manage to sneak up on him while he was busy dealing with a sentry gun. Eventually I got 3 points versus his 1, and he swapped to sniper and got me a second time. Luckily, I was able to secure a 4th kill due to a clueless soldier player, and then the round ended seconds later, leaving me with a victory. Duel number 32 was going great. I was matched up against a pyro player, probably yet another fresh install. I'm starting to notice a pattern here. When all of a sudden someone used a new spy exploit to crash the server we were playing on, invalidating the duel. Immediately after I joined a fresh Mercenary Park game, and then this happened. Excuse me, what the fuck? There must be some new exploit in the new update. That's the 3rd time today that this has happened. Oh my fucking god, I am killing myself in-game. The real duel number 32 was a quick victory. I saw my opponent twice. They were on sniper and nearly killed me once. Then I snuck up and got an extinguisher hit on them. 1-0. Duel number 33 was a draw. Both me and my opponent got jumped by 3 people at the same time, and we both got points on each other that way. Round 2 was also a draw. Again, 1 point each. Now, the real duel number 33, I had this soldier named Jizz on my team, and I just shoved myself up his rectum as medic and didn't see the light of day once, and I won the duel 2-0. Duel number 34 was a tie. I saw my opponent so many times, but none of us ever managed to kill the other. For the rematch, I stayed on the same server and dueled a different player. I won 2-1 on medic, I didn't even see my opponent when I was getting my points against them. At the very end, they got very angry with me for playing medic. After getting rejected 7 times in a row, I finally got a duel that resulted in a draw because neither me nor my opponent saw each other once. The real duel number 35 ended 5-2 in my favor, and the 2 points that my opponent did get was from me basically handing them a free point. At this stage in the challenge, I was developing a bit of a theory that most of my duel partners were going to be fresh installs. Here's my reasoning behind that theory. As you probably know, duels are broadcast to the entire server in the chat. And TF2 players are very prideful beings. So announcing to the whole server that you just got dog-walked 3-0 in a duel is a huge blow to your ego. So instead, announcing to the whole server that you just refused the duel, while still bringing a small degree of shame, is in the minds of these players worth it when compared to the potential blow to the ego that would be a huge loss in a duel. Free-to-play players, however, have not developed this sense of pride yet. They are still eager to explore all that the game has to offer. So when they see a new dialogue box pop up prompting them to take action, they just jump right in. Now, I don't know if this theory holds any water or not, but I'll try and keep an eye out in the future. My opponent wasn't medic for most of this game, but eventually did swap to heavy. Nothing truly, eventful. The duel ended 2-1 in my favor. This was 100% a fresh install. A Gibbous soldier who came out of fucking nowhere and took the first point. After that, I accidentally snuck up on them and got a point as well. Eventually, the round ended, leaving the score 1-1, resulting in a draw. After that, I joined an overgrown server that looked like this. Then, I joined a Dust Bowl server, got a duel off instantly, which ended seconds later in a draw, which I didn't count in my stats. I rematched the same player in the following round, and this duel actually went somewhere. They were on heavy, and I almost got a kill on the first point, but I had to retreat because the heavy had a crit medic glued to him. While defending last, I almost managed to get a kill on my opponent, but they got away, only to come back not too long after, again, with a crit medic attached, scoring them a point. Then after that, the heavy got an assist on me while I was defending the points, and a few seconds later, the enemy team capped as everyone was oblivious to the one medic wandering around on the point, leading to my second defeat. I joined a Borneo server and decided to go spy just to check out what class my opponent was on, but almost immediately I got a kill on them and just decided that I would stay on spy for the fun of it. I got a backstab, then another backstab, and the duel ended 3-0 in my favor. Duel 39 was against... Wait, is that? Hatsune Miku! Anyhow, my opponent was scared of the duel in chat, but they did put up an admirable fight. Unfortunately, the duel did end 2-0 in my favor. GG Miku, you make great music. Absolute fresh install. My opponent had 51 hours in game and was on medic. It wasn't even a competition. Half the time they weren't even healing anyone. I got 3 kills and they got none. This one started out pretty rough. I got into a pretty bad position and my opponent came out of nowhere and killed me. I swapped to medic to break through the enemy sentry nest, and then I just never saw my opponents again. Not a single time, leading to a 1-0 loss. This was my 3rd loss, and yet again, I wasn't really satisfied. Who the fuck is messaging me on Steam? What the fuck? This was my 3rd defeat, and yet again, I wasn't really satisfied. I felt like all of my losses so far had been pretty much out of my control. During all of these duels, I have been actively seeking out my opponents, but this defeat came from me being unable to even find my opponent. I don't mind losing a duel, far from it. A loss can be a valuable learning experience. However, all my losses so far just felt unfun and out of my control. There wasn't really much I could do, I feel like. This one was pretty drawn out. I saw that my opponent was playing soldier, so I went pyro. After a while, they swapped to engineer, and the game stalemated until the inevitable pub push. The score ended 2-1 in my favor. My opponent was on Demoman. I went spy, and this level 0 Steam account Demoman nearly killed me with random ass floor stickies. I would have been dead if I wasn't invisible and had a 20% damage resistance. Shortly after, I round the corner, and this dude just crit kills me while I'm invisible. He then proceeds to hide away behind the sentries for the rest of the game, getting a ton of random crits. I'm pretty sure this guy was either cheating or a Smurf account, leaning towards cheating. The game ended with a score of 1-0 in my opponent's favor, and yet another loss that I felt was just out of my control. Duel 44 had a pretty rough start as well. I went spy and got this massive fail stab, leading to my death. I then swapped to pyro and got into a fight that I barely managed to get out of alive, and then this spy takes a health kit right in front of me as my opponent shows up. Me and my opponent then trade because of my 14 health, so the score is now 2-1. I rush back to the front after having swapped to the shotgun and get a random ass kill, setting the score an even 2-2. And then after that, none of us ever see each other again, leading to a draw. The real duel number 45 was a medic duel, which was really awkward. The duel ended 2-0 in my favor, but I would not recommend medic dueling. That shit is weird. This was a quick one. I was getting rejected left and right, and as I was walking out of spawn, I got headshot by a huntsman sniper who then accepted the duel that I had just so happened to send his way. We met at mid, and I got a kill with my 8 seconds of bleed. Then I killed him again as he was coming out of spawn, and I never saw him again, ending the duel 2-0 in my favor. On duel number 46, I was playing sniper against another sniper on Moss Rock. We kept trading hits without anyone getting the lead, so I went spy and took them out twice. They then swapped to pyro to counter me and managed to get a kill. I then went sniper again, but my opponent had the scorch shot equipped and got a lucky hit on me right as I'd survived the headshot, leading to a tie. I then swapped to heavy to counter the pyro, getting me up to a 1-point lead, and then the game stalemated for 4 minutes, leading to a 3-2 victory for me. My opponent was on medic and pretty quickly got a point on me by healing a direct hit soldier. I'm not entirely sure what happened, but all of a sudden the soldier wasn't there anymore. He probably either got kicked or left the game. So I took the opportunity to flank behind them when the medic was positioned poorly, leading to first a kill, and then me getting further behind to the spawn room, where I killed the medic again, and also taking out their teleporters, which inevitably extended the round as they couldn't defend properly anymore. My opponent then swapped to Demoman and got an assist on me. Then I went soldier and bombed in on them after they'd swapped back to medic. And eventually my opponent left the server, leading to a 3-2 victory for me. This one started off really slow, like sluggish. I wasn't soldier and my opponent went scout. We had a couple of skirmishes, but nothing that ever evolved into any full-length fights. Eventually, the points started coming in. I kept getting point after point on this guy, eventually leading to a 5-0 victory. There were a few close calls along the way, but unfortunately for the scout, he never managed to get a finishing blow on me. My opponent was on pyro, and we very quickly started to see some kills. I snuck up on them and got a sneaky little kill first, and not too long after that, they did the same to me. But from then, it was all me. They started to focus me with a thermal thruster. When that didn't work, they went soldier, and eventually the duel ended in a score of 4-1 in my favor. This one was rough. Almost immediately, my opponent got a kill on me. They were with a medic that just so happened to have an uber charge ready, saving my opponent from dying. After that, they got some more kills on me. I wasn't playing too well. I was missing all my flares and stuff, and at one point I even failed to pick up a health pack. I did get 1 point on my opponent, and some more close calls where they nearly died, but the duel did end 3-1 in my opponent's favor. This was the first duel where I'm pretty satisfied with losing. Sure, there was a massive difference in team skill, and we didn't even get close to capping the point, and that certainly had an effect on the outcome of the duel, since I had no one to support me like my opponent did, but hey, this was an honest loss, and I am totally fine with that. Duel number 51 was another one of those where me and my opponent just kept swapping classes. I started out playing Scout, and my opponent wasn't Soldier. I got a really lucky kill using the pocket pistol, where the higher DPS than the stock pistol actually came in pretty clutch. After that, we swapped around. I went Soldier because I was not confident that I could beat them as Scout again, but they also swapped to Scout. And then my opponent recognized me. That was awkward. After that second kill, we didn't really fight anymore. I tried to get close, but the blue team was always packed very tightly together, so I could never really get close enough to get another kill. The duel ended 2-0 in my favor. This one was a constant back and forth. My opponent and I kept trading kills in the most cheesy and ridiculous ways possible. When my team pushed into last, that all changed, however. They went engineer, and I only saw them once after that for like half a second when my team capped the last points. That duel ended 4-4 in a tie, but I still had fun. For the rematch, I challenged a soldier player. They swapped a scout without even seeing me, and they very quickly engaged. I got 2 kills on them pretty much back to back, and then just didn't see them again until the inevitable pub push, 2-0. Duel number 53 was slow. Really slow. I quickly found out that I challenged a Burning Flame sniper player, so I knew I'd have to play carefully. It took forever, but eventually I did get a flare punch kill on them, putting me in the lead. I then got another double flare snipe, after which they got a sneaky little headshot on me. I then swapped to the man melter to be able to crit them without having to light them up first, and that very quickly paid off, ending the duel with a score of 3-1. I very quickly got 2 kills on my opponent, though they also got 1 assist on me right after I got the second kill. I then went stock flamethrower to try and kill them with afterburn, but they never engaged me again. So I went engineer and proceeded to turn the match around into a 6-1 victory by defending the last point. This one felt really ass. My opponent got 2 assists on me, I got 1 kill on them, it ended 2-1 in their favor. I could never really get close to them, and when our team had the advantage, they just never pushed forward for some reason. So unlike my opponent, I had no one around me to back me up. Maybe I should have swapped off for Pyro, who knows. We'll never find out, I guess. After getting rejected 6 times in a row, someone finally accepted. It was a fresh install soldier, and I feel very bad for them. Absolute cakewalk, it ended 3-0 in my favor, nothing else to say. Duel number 57 was a fucking massacre. I went spy to check out my opponent, they were on medic, and I got a stab and then swapped to Dragon's Fury Pyro. And what ensued can only be described as a bloodbath. The match itself was decently close, with both teams trying their asses off to win the game. The duel, however, was not nearly as close. It ended 9-0 in my favor, but luckily, my opponent was a great sport about it. Shout out to them for real, they were great. I went sniper to try and spot my opponent. I couldn't find them, so I just swapped back to Pyro and started playing the objective. Eventually, I saw my opponent. They were on sniper themselves, but I managed to get a lucky flare snipe and the afterburn took them out. After that, a crits medic decided to glue themselves to me, leading to another easy kill. I didn't see my opponent for a while after that, but eventually they did headshot me. I swapped to soldier, got a cheeky little flank kill on them. Then they went to soldier and got an assist on me, but it wasn't enough, as the time ran out and my team lost, winning me the duel with 3-2. Duel number 59 was a pocket versus pocket duel. Both me and my opponent pretty much had a medic glued to us the entire game, and we kept trading points back and forth. But sadly, it just wasn't meant to be. The medic that was healing me was either a fresh install or had 0 game sense, and the final point came from my opponent killing me with an uber charge, while my own medic also had an uber but just refused to use, leading to them dying to a grenade. After that, I did get decently close to killing my opponent quite a few times, but realistically, what can a pyro do against a pocketed heavy? The game ended 4-3 in my opponent's favor, and I won't lie, I did get really tilted after that game, as I felt I had it in the bag, but lost to something that was out of my control in the form of a medic just not using their uber charge. Luckily for me, however, duty was calling and I had to go to work for the day, so I got to take a break from the game and cool down. Duel number 60 was a blitz. I went sniper, but when I didn't see my opponent for a while, I checked their score and realized that they were probably on spy. So I went back to spawn to swap to pyro, and there they were. They tried to trick stab me, failed, tried to dead ringer again, failed again, and I secured a kill. And not too long after that, the enemy team that was pub stomping rolled my team over, ending the duel in a 1-0. Total stomp. My team rolled over the defending team in no time. I couldn't spot my opponent, so I checked their score and saw that they had teleporter points. So I went airstrike soldier, and sure enough, they were on engineer. I got a kill on my opponent while they were retreating, and then I got an assist as they exited a teleporter, and then nothing else really happened for the rest of the duel, ending in a score of 2-0. My opponent was on sniper and I got a kill right away, and they swapped to soldier and got an assist on me. I swapped to soldier myself and got a very undeserved kill, followed by me launching my opponent into outer space. And getting a point after they cratered on the way down. As we were pushing into the last point, I didn't know that my opponent was behind me, and I was blown to smithereens by random crits. And not too long after that, we capped the point, ending the duel with a score of 3-2 and a victory for me. This one was yet another slow starter. I was on medic, my enemy was on sniper, so after failing to secure a point with a crit rocket, I went soldier myself. I decided to equip the battalion's backup to stay safe from headshots, which didn't really turn out to be all that necessary, as a crit medic decided to shove themselves 4 light years up my rectum. I kept getting kill after kill on this poor sniper, eventually leading to a 4-1 victory. So, I forgot to record the first bit of this duel, but you didn't really miss out on much anyhow. My opponent was on pyro, and they had a medic up their ass the whole match. They got a kill on me and I swapped to heavy, though nothing really came of it, so eventually I just swapped back to scout. While on scout I did get 1 point on my opponent, and after that they got a second medic on them. So at this point there wasn't really much I could do. I could never get close enough to do anything, and if I did, they had an overcharge. Luckily for me, the enemy team capped the intel, leaving me with a tie. My rematch, however, was quite different. My opponent had 1 hour in the game. And I think this might have been one of their first rounds ever of Team Fortress 2. I started out with a butter knife revolver shot combo on them, and then went back to spawn to swap to soldier. Next time I saw them, they were on spy, so I went pyro and started racking up some kills. And they just did not get a single point on me whatsoever. Not a single one. Not a single one. After that weird glitch in the Matrix, I got a few more kills. And by the end of the game, they were on soldier, but too little too late, and the duel ended with a score of 5-1 in my favor. This one wasn't really all that exciting. My opponent was on pyro, and after we first met, and none of us came out on top, they swapped to huntsman sniper. So I had to play pretty cautiously. I snuck up behind their team and got a sneaky kill on my opponent, and then nothing else really happened for the rest of the match, leading to a 1-0 victory. Duel number 66 was a fucking stomp. We didn't exit spawn once. I did manage to get a kill on my opponent while Ubered, however. I know, high priority target. After that, I tried a bunch of different classes to sneak in another point on my opponent, eventually getting a last second body shot as sniper before the game ended, leaving me with a victory and a score of 2-0. Duel number 67 started out pretty rough. My opponent got a kill on me right away as I was retreating to spawn because someone else hit a crit on me. I swapped off of heavy to go demo man, and I got both my opponent and their team sentry gun, allowing my team to push forward. I then started farming this poor demo man, eventually leading to them swapping to pyro, which sadly didn't do much for the situation at hand. My team failed to push into last, and the duel ended 7-2 in my favor, leaving me with a duel win. However, my opponent won in spirit. After being rejected by God, a medic player accepted duel number 68. It was a cakewalk. I won 3-0 without my opponent ever getting close to scoring a single point on me. Duel number funny was probably the stupidest duel to date. I went pyro and immediately spotted that my opponent was on sniper, so I went back to spawn and went spy. When I got back to the fight, I saw that they had the Razorback equipped, so I killbinded, swapped to the Enforcer and started hunting him down. Since the Enforcer 2-shots light classes if you're disguised while shooting your first shot, I just had to land 2 body shots to kill the sniper. The duel ended 2-0, and I'm fairly confident that this sniper player was a fresh install. Duel number 70 was another pretty easy one. My opponent was a soldier player with less than 170 hours in game. They were running the black box, which didn't really work out, and after dying twice, they swapped to the direct hit, which also didn't work out for them. They swapped back to the black box and got a kill on me after a sniper shot got me stuck on a door frame, but then I came back and got 2 more kills on them, and the game ended with a 4-1 score. This was yet another cakewalk. I don't know for sure since my opponent's profile was private, but I'm pretty sure that they were decently new to the game. They started out the game on pyro, then went heavy, and after that they went soldier. Nothing really worked out for them, and by the end the score was 3-0 in my favor. Duel number 72 was a duel of fates. After helping my engineer upgrade his teleporters, I went sniper. I hosted myself up in a window, and as the gates opened, I saw my opponent. They were on scouts. I could already feel that this was going to be a tough duel, and as they left spawn, I lined up my shots and landed the first blow of the duel. And he quit immediately after that. Duel 73 just felt like a regular match of TF2, to be honest. I joined the game midway through and challenged the person that was second scoring on the enemy team. They were on pyro, so I went heavy out the gates. Didn't really work out, so I went pyro myself to try and flank. Our first interaction was them coming out of a teleporter that was behind me, which none of us were ready for, but I managed to clean them up and got the first point. After that, I went back to spawn and swapped to sniper to help support my team as they were pushing up the hill for the first point, where I just so happened to get my opponent a second time. I then had this embarrassing death, but luckily we traded, leaving the score 3-1. After which, I went soldier to break through the defense, scoring another point on my opponent. We stalemated for a bit, I went Dragon's Fury Pyro, got another point on my opponent, and then as they respawned, they got a kill on me, leaving the score 5-2. And not too long after that, my team managed to cap the final point, winning me the duel. This duel was just a pure slog. The match itself was a complete slog. My team wasn't even able to push to the first point, and my opponent was a gunboat's original soldier with a pocket medic. I started out the game with a lucky assist, but after that, I found myself constantly swapping between sniper and pyro because the soldier was just so damn hard to nail down. Eventually, I did manage to take out their medic, forcing them to jump to a health pack that had just been taken by demo, securing me a second point. Not much happened after that, my team lost and I won 2-0. This was another round that just felt like a regular match of TF2. I was on medic, didn't die once, I ended with a 22 kill streak, so you could probably guess how the duel went. My opponent was on sniper for most of the game. They did eventually swap to soldier, but that didn't help. This was a 4-0 sweep. This one was a roll. The enemy team had a heavy with not one, not two, but count them, 3 medics attached to them. So the loss was inevitable, but the duel was quite the opposite. I think my opponent was yet another fresh install. This one was on spy. So I pretty much just had to go pyro and play how I would usually play. And sure enough, the duel ended 3-0. Duel number 77 was my first draw in forever. The rematch was a complete stomp, however. The enemy team was spawn camping us, and my opponent was on sniper. So I did the enforcer strat again, and won 3-0, and then my opponent said GG in the chat and did not call me a racial slur.
5 times, now I'm banned from playing this.
This one was hard, man. I spent the first half, I think, of the game trying to find my opponent. I was on gunboats and just flying around the map without ever seeing a single glimpse of my opponent. When I finally did encounter them, they fucking ruined me. Twice. I'm not too good at scout, so trying to counter their scout with my own was probably a bad idea. So eventually, I swapped back to soldier and equipped a shotgun, and proceeded to clean house, taking the score from 2-0 in my opponent's favor to 4-2 in my favor. My opponent then went heavy and got a pocket medic, and we had this really close fight that sadly ended in my death. The score was now 4-3. Then I tried to flank as they pushed again, first taking out the medic, whittling down the heavy, taking cover behind a wall and loading a rocket just in time for me to get a kill on the heavy, leaving me with a score of 5-3, and 20 seconds later the game ended with me coming out on top. This was a fun duel, man. Truly exciting stuff. I thought for sure that this was gonna be a loss after my opponent scored the first 2 points, but I somehow managed to lock the fuck in. This one was another rage quit. My opponent had less than 60 hours in game. I scored 2 points and they just left. Understandable. Duel number 80 was a total steamroll and a draw, and I didn't really get to fight my opponent whatsoever. The rematch, however, was very close. It was a constant back and forth, both in terms of the duel, but also the game itself. Both of the teams were really evenly matched, but the game ended with me and a few others backcapping and then fending off the incoming red team. The duel ended 5-3. This one was brutal. Medic v Spy duel. There was nothing this poor man could do. Pretty sure they were decently new to the game as well. The duel ended 3-0. Duel number 82 was cool as fuck. Lots of class swapping. I was sniper, scout and pyro. My opponent was on spy, heavy, soldier and scout. There was loads of counterplay going on. My opponent did complain a bit in chat, but let's be honest, I would also do the same if I was dueling someone with more hours on pyro than on grass. The duel ended 5-0 in my favor. Overall, good match. I joined late and was matched against a kunai dead ringer spy player feeding off of my team. It was impossible to nail this guy down. He was always at 200 health and would just run away with the dead ringer anytime I got close. At one point he even swapped to the diamondback as well for free crits. And playstyle aside, he was also being weirdly toxic in chat for no reason. There wasn't really much I could do. My opponent won the duel 3-1 and started being hyper toxic in chat and begging for a rematch. Duel number 84, however, was the exact opposite of duel number 83. This was the most honest and down-to-earth duel imaginable. My opponent asked me what class I wanted to fight, to which I responded to just go whatever they wanted. Right out of the gate I got a headshot, I then went scout and promptly remembered that I fucking suck at scout, so I went soldier instead. I saw my opponent on scout, didn't fight them, then they swapped to demo man for a while, they died twice as demo, and then swapped back to scout and overwhelmed me with a 3v1. But I got one more kill, ending the duel 4-1. Duel number 85 was against a scorch shot using pyro. So after my first death, I put on the danger shield for the first time since its nerf in 2017. And I just started clicking heads. It looked like the duel was coming to an end at 2-1, but then the pop push happened, and I swapped off of sniper to shotgun soldier. After my opponent's first encounter with me on soldier, they became really hesitant to engage me. But I did manage to get 2 more kills on soldier before swapping to demo, where my opponent then got an assist on me, setting the score 4-2. And not too long after that, the enemy team won the round. For my 86th duel, I was matched against Puppy Boy Porjobs, okay. It was a one-sided stomp. Simple as. My opponent was on spy, and I was on pyro, so there was nothing they could really do. I walked all over them, and the duel ended with a score of 4-0. But they were a great sport about it. All of my respect goes out to you, Puppy Boy Porjobs. Duel number 87 was weird, I think is the best way to describe it. I was on medic, noticed my opponent on sniper, so I started playing very carefully. But then nothing happened. I never saw my opponent. I myself had to go out of my way to swap off of medic to sniper. I then ran past the front lines and all the way behind the enemy team to find my opponent and get one single kill. Then after that, I never saw them again, leading to a 1-0 victory. Duel number 88 was sluggish. I was on medic and didn't see my opponent once. I swapped to soldier, and again, I didn't see them until about halfway through the game, where I got to jump on them. And then my team started steamrolling, and again, I didn't see the slightest hint of my opponent, and just as I was thinking to myself, I wonder where my opponent is, I turn a corner and get a huntsman arrow to the face. And you'll never guess what happened next. I never saw my opponent again, ending the duel in a draw. The rematch, however, was nothing like the duel prior. I went medic and instantly got deleted by my opponent, who came out of nowhere. They were running direct hit on soldier, so I myself also swapped to soldier and started going on the offensive. First, I nearly hit the fabled Mr. Beast combo, had it not been for this insanely low skybox, that is. It didn't matter though, as my opponent cratered, giving me a point, followed up by 3 more kills on my opponent, landing me both a domination and a 3-point lead. Then, much like their first point, they came out of nowhere as I was fighting someone else and secured a kill on me, setting the score 5-2. But not too long after that, the game ended, leaving me with a victory. Duel 89 was yet another cakewalk. The server was almost entirely empty when the duel started. People did eventually join, but it was still a stomp. They didn't even cap the first point, and I won the duel 4-0. Horrible match. Calling duel number 90 a bloodbath does not do it justice. It wasn't just a slaughter, it was a pure genocide. My opponent, God bless their soul, didn't lay a single finger on me. I was getting kill after kill after kill, with my opponent trying to swap between classes to get something done, but nothing was working out for them. After the dust had settled and the round was over, the score was a staggering, get this, 12-0. Truly horrific. I am truly a piece of shit. This one started out really weird. I couldn't find my opponent at all, so I assumed they went by. And with that knowledge in mind, let me just play you this clip. Okay, dude, I took my fucking hand off of my keyboard to quickly wipe my fucking forehead. And that happens. I'm actually game ending myself in real life. Holy fucking shit. After that embarrassing clip, I once again couldn't find my opponent. And I was sure they were camping out in spawn waiting for the match to end. But eventually, they did show up, and I got a kill. They swapped off of Spy to go Huntsman Sniper, and then didn't swap for the rest of the duel. As we were being pushed into last, I started rotating between Flock Pyro, Demo Man, and Sniper, constantly swapping between my opponent, the enemy team sentry guns, and fencing off the enemy Flock Pyro. But I am only one person, so of course that did not last, and eventually my team lost the game, ending the duel 7-2 in my favor. Duel number 92 was another one of those fresh install sniper way in the back duels. I had to swap to Spy to even get a single kill on them. The duel ended 1-0 in my favor. After being rejected 5 times in a row, someone finally accepted, and the match was a complete stomp. The enemy team barely managed to get out of spawn, meaning I also barely saw my opponent. The duel was a 1-1 tie. The rematch, however, was interesting. It was a total steamroll on Gravel Pit. After finding out that my opponent was a scout, I swapped to the stock flamethrower to get more damage with afterburn, and not too long after that, we won the game, ending the duel 3-1. Duel number 94 was yet another tie. I saw my opponent once, and nothing exciting happened at all. The rematch, however, was great fun and a close match of Badwater with both teams trying their asses off. As far as the duel goes, however, it started out really slow. Like, incredibly slow. None of us had gotten a single point by the time that we were pushing into last. The first point went to me, and it was probably the most undeserved point of all time. I had overextended quite a bit behind enemy lines, turned a corner and saw a medic, a heavy, and my opponent, so I just hit my kill bind to get out of there. And somehow, I landed a flame on my opponent, netting me a point as they blew themselves up on accident. I swapped to soldier, and then my opponent used their own weird magic against me, so I think we'll call it even as far as bullshit is concerned. Did he just disappear? I then got a random ass assist, and another undeserved assist after that, and then we pushed into last with a crits charge, and I'll just let the rest play out for you. What? What the fuck? 5-1. Great match. Duel 95 was quick. I got rejected 3 times, finally got a duel, got 3 points before we even capped the first point, and my opponent left. So, you know those servers where everything is stuttering and jittery, which makes the game unplayable, right? Have you ever wondered what it would be like to have a duel on a full payload match on one of those servers? Well, if you have, let me spare you the trouble. Don't do that. I joined the game, and before walking around to check the server stability, I challenged someone who then immediately accepted. So we had an incredibly laggy duel. I'll spare you the details, but it was practically unplayable. The duel ended 5-2 in my favor, but my opponent was pretty chill about it. We didn't cap first. We didn't even get close. My opponent and I also barely fought, and every time we did, they had a whole team backing them up, forcing me to retreat. The duel ended in a draw. The rematch, however, was a rage quit. I killed my opponent once, and they left not too long after that. Duel 98 was yet another one of those what could I have done losses. I was fighting a medic, I accidentally turned a corner, and my opponent was right there, on engineer, at his own spawn with a level 3 sentry gun. I swapped to soldier, take out both the engineer and the gun, and then they come right out of spawn again as soldier with the black box and kills me. I swapped to pyro and flanked behind to get to their spawn because my opponent just died at mid. But this random sniper spotted me and got me down to half health, and wouldn't you know it, around the corner comes my opponent and blasts me again. And that was it. My teammates were annihilating the other team, so the duel ended shortly after, ending in a 3-1 loss. I saw my opponent on engineer, so I suicided and swapped to soldier, which paid off immediately. After that, I didn't see my opponent again until we hit the very last point, and my opponent had swapped to spy and got me with a backstab, ending the duel 1-1. The rematch, however, I am not counting. I don't give a fuck what anyone says, this shit does not count. I don't have footage of the incident itself, but my entire fucking PC froze. I was stood still in a corner for 30 seconds or so, and when my PC decided that it was finally ready to play the game again, my opponent had already killed me while my game was frozen. I did manage to get some points after that, but so did my opponent, ending the duel 3-2 in their favor. But I don't care. That shit was a fucking tie. Had my PC not frozen, that would have been a 2-2 draw, so I'm counting that as a tie. Sue me, lynch me, do whatever the fuck you want. This is my video, fuck off. The game after that was also a tie. I killed my opponent once, and they immediately went vaccinator heavy. What can you realistically do against that? I overextended a bit, and they got a kill on me, and that was that. No more points for the rest of the match. The rematch after that was yet another tie, 0-0. But the 99th duel that actually had a real result was incredibly boring. I'll spare you all the details, but we spent 10 minutes pushing into last on gravel pit. My opponent was an engineer on top of the tower with his level 3 sentry gun, 2 dispensers, and a heavy patrolling the entire platform. When the game finally ended, I won the duel with a score of 3-1. Finally, the last duel of this entire shitshow of a challenge slash video slash whatever you want to call it. It was quite an explosive finish, to say the least. I got put into a match of Hoodoo, and the silly bunny girls stuffed themselves up my rectum and gave me every single crit charge they got throughout the entire game. I went on a godlike kill streak and stomped my opponent 4-0. Okay, shut up, no one's perfect. So, that's it. 100 duels done. Time to review some stats. Out of the 100 finished duels, I won 91 of them, which is fucking insane. I predicted a 60-70% win rate, so 91 is just outlandish to me. Although, as you might remember from duel number 35, I do have a theory that mostly beginners and gods at the game accept duels, so that might explain my absurd win rate. Out of my 91 wins, 8 of them came from people leaving the match early, and I also played 23 duels that ended in a tie. I was rejected 111 times, 11 more than the amount of duels I actually finished. So if we add my duels played, duels that got rejected, and duels resulting in a tie together, that means I've sent 234 duel requests throughout this entire project. While doing this, I've also learned some stuff about myself, surprisingly. I really enjoy playing shotgun soldier, and the reserve shooter might just become my new go-to shotgun both on soldier and on pyro. And finally, I fucking suck at scout. 100 days of scout incoming, I can already see the views pouring in. Well, with all of that out of the way, let's check on my brand new shiny dueling badge. What? It's still bronze. TF2 dueling badge. Oh, come the fuck off!